All right, so the whole point of that move was using this elbow tie clinch, create a frame that works with your knee. Now, if you don't do that, what's gonna happen is you're gonna be in the worst scenario. You're gonna be put flat on your back and your opponent's gonna have an underhook. And most likely that'll turn into 2 underhooks. So every once in a while, this kind of gives us a good example, or this gives us a good opportunity to explain what Trujitsu is. It's not uncommon. Every once in a while, someone will still ask what Trujitsu is. And if you've been following TJX, it's obvious that it's certain moves that we favor. But more than that, what we hope that you start to understand, it's a way of thinking. It's a way of negotiating jiu-jitsu. So this next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna do really what defines Trujitsu. Trujitsu is not about physical movement. It's not about aggression. It's not about forcing moves. It's basically about flipping things on our opponent. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take away the strengths of what our opponent's doing, and we're not gonna allow them to utilize those, and we're gonna try to make them backfire as well. So how that'll be done though, is basically by just creating an angle. So if we look at what happens, okay? This is our way of Trujitsuing out of this bad position, okay? So from the beginning, all right, we were in a paperclip that wasn't working, all right? Our opponent started shutting it down. So now what we ended up doing was shifting to sitting guard. Now they got the underhook here by moving. And when you're tired or the person's really athletic, this is where things sometimes go wrong. All right, you're tired, they're more explosive, they're a better athlete. But now what happened was my response was a little bit slower than my opponent's, okay? I'm not dependent on speed, but at this particular micro battle, he got the jump. So now Joel is gonna push, and he's gonna put me in this situation here, where I'm flat on my back, and now he's got double underhooks. Now let's talk about this, okay? Double underhooks, basically, that limits my ability to move my upper body. All right, he's got an underhook. If he creates an angle to this side, he's gonna be passing my guard. All right, so let's talk about this. What's the strength of what Joel has right now? What's making this work for him? All right, 1, I'm flat. Okay, do we understand that? Okay, 2, he's got underhooks. Okay, so his underhooks are controlling my upper body. So if I was gonna Trujitsu my way out of this, I would try to make those 2 things that are strengths, weaknesses. And how would I do that? All right, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get on my side. All right, so I'm going to try to get on my side, but I know if I move, that's going to encourage him to move. All right, so I want to slow down his ability to move a little bit. All right, if I can get a grapevine, that would be great. But if I can't, I'm pinching. I'm going to at least pinch my knees because I want to slow down his ability to lift his hips up and cut away to the side, to my right side. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to push. And I want Joel's head on the opposite side, okay? All right, so now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start putting my arm down. So if we can get a look at what I'm doing with my arm here. So my arm is dropping in, and what I'm doing is I'm starting to push a little bit. Now, as I push, I wanna create a little bit of an angle, and now I'm on my side, okay? So at this point, your opponent's gonna be fighting to go forward, keeping you flat. And what I'm doing is I'm hipping out to my side, and I want to grab my arm here, and I want to start squeezing. And the reason why is because I want my opponent to feel a choke. Now, is there a choke? No. But what it does is it makes the person second guess going forward a little bit. Now, that second guess going forward starts to encourage them to lean a little bit, and that gives me a little bit more space for this foot to go in. Now, what we've done is we've taken away the first strength. Us being flat. Our opponent doesn't have you flat anymore. Now, the second strength is their underhook. Because I have this angle and I have my foot in now, this underhook that he has now is an overhook for me. So what I do here is I trap and then I lift. And now I get a top position and a good top position. I get a mount. So what happened was basically your opponent put you flat with underhooks, but they committed their arms. They broke a Trujitsu rule. So the right way of doing this is basically getting their strengths and turning them into weaknesses. If I can create a slight angle and get one hook in, and then trap the other arm. It makes completely what they had working for them backfire. Okay? All right, everybody, let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3.